I press live. And let me go to it and share it. Boom, 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 boom.
Now we can do anything. It's live TV. Anything can
Oh,
happen.
it's absolutely live.
Wow.
I know. You never know what we're going to do. There have been no recent content scandals related to live broadcasts. There's nothing in the news, in the conversation.
Everything's nice and cool.
Everybody's being super chill on the internet. Everyone is being very normal all the time.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Hi, everybody. This is Matt. We're having our live interview with Andy Bobrow on the 10th anniversary of Pills and Blankets. Again, my name is Matt. The wonderful human being you see on the thing, he's beside me, is Kevin. And the talented fellow below is the wonderful Andy Bobrow. Thank you for being here, buddy.
Hi. It's really great to be here.
And thanks for doing this. How are you?
Hold on, I'm closing every window on my screen so that I can focus.
An excellent idea.
All right, I'm doing well. I just started working on a Dan Harmon project.
Ooh.
It's not a secret. It's the show he's doing for Fox.
The cartoon
animated show about ancient Greece.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to have it. It was a rough I always have to preface this by saying I can't complain, but I had a rough I had a rough work year in 2021. And so I am just delighted to have this job, and also really thrilled to be working with Dan again. It was really fun to get that call.
Well, good. No, I didn't. You said something about it in our previous conversation, so I'm happy to hear it worked out. I do want at the top of the thank because they helped promote it. Jan Moore of the Darkest Timeline wanted you to know that this is her favorite episode of Community. So when I said, "Hey, can you help me tell people this is going to happen?" She's like, "Yes," and just didn't even question it. Everything I just sent her, she just retweeted it.
Oh my God, that's great.
And that's a coveted retweet. Those retweets are sparse. Those retweets are not just handed out. That's an honor to get the Yamur retweet.
She's the best. And we are super thankful.
It's like when Carson invites you over to the couch, right?
Right. Oh yeah, when you get that retweet.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, let's tell people who Carson is. Not yet.
Johnny Carson was in the late 20th century. There was a.
All right. So you kids know Jimmy Fallon. Now before him, there was another guy. His name was Jay Leno. Now before him was another guy. His name was Johnny Carson. His name was Conan. And then before him, it was Leno. And then before him is Johnny Carson.
Yeah. Wow. It's been 10 years since this aired. Does it feel like 10?
No, my whole experience at Community feels like yesterday. Like I always get surprised and a little depressed when I think about how much time has passed. I don't know. Well, I guess depressed is the wrong word. I don't know. It just it's a little off-putting because it feels like because it was such a huge part of my life, and it's not hard for me to go from a place of wow, that was amazing, I love that I got to do that, to a place of like, fuck, what the fuck have I done in 10 years? All right. Oh, I can swear on YouTube, right?
Yeah. We don't have this marked. It's marked not for children. So that felt
all right.
safe.
Well, I'm not going to say fuck. I'm not going to keep saying fuck. I mean, that'd be the fucking stupidest thing I could do.
Community says fuck twice. So I think if they do it, then we can do it. We're perfectly in the clear.
Technically 3 times, and one of them is in this episode, but it's bleeped out because Chevy's line, he drops the F-bomb.
Of course.
Chevy's, I've been doing a lot of rewatching and researching.
Wow. They bleep out a thing. When you get into, when you're working in network television and you work for different companies, you learn some sort of esoteric, arcane differences. And one of them is that Fox will not let a character say a swear word and bleep it out. Wow. They won't even let you bleep it out. I mean, it's like they don't bleep. Their policy is don't swear. NBC will let you occasionally say a swear word and bleep it out. And I think they also have to pixelate the mouth so that no one can read the lips.
Oh my God. I mean, the travesty, if kids could read those lips.
It was great fun when I know the people at Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and when they got to go from Fox to NBC, they were like, oh, goody, we can have characters swear.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Yes.
How does an episode like this come about? How do you even write this? I'm sorry, I phrased it wrong. How do you write this?
How do you write this?
Colors. Yes. How do you write something like this?
Excuse me. I had experience doing something like this because I had, one of the things that helped get me the job, or one of the things that kind of established me as a television writer, was I made a short film that went viral, and it was a fake documentary like this. It was a thing that oh my God, it's a thing that I wouldn't do today, because it could be considered racially insensitive, and I regret it. But it was called the Old Negro Space Program, and it was a fake documentary about. Imagine what Ken Burns would have done about the Negro Leagues of baseball, but it was with astronauts.
Okay. We've been there. I who went through these same programs, but years, decades after you, I did the same thing. It's okay. We all it's a learning process, right?
Right. Well, it was a thing. Yeah, it was the kind of thing. I don't want to talk too much about it. It was the kind of thing. It was a really good joke. It was basically, what if there was a Negro League of space travel, like the Negro League of baseball, and I felt at the time like, oh, this would be a great sketch on Chappelle's show, or this would work as a sketch, and I think, and it still does. I think the problem is that I'm white, and it's probably not to write. It wouldn't. I shouldn't have done it. It should have been someone else. But it's out there. You can find it. Anyway, so I had done this thing, and it was the same trick. It was still photographs with slow moves. The Ken Burns effect that everyone knows, and very even-keeled narration about a serious topic. And so Dan Harmon had seen that, and he knew that I could do that. And so he wanted me to do this episode. It was a rare case of going what writer should write this one? Why it came about at Community was that as a cost-saving thing. We had done the formula that they had stumbled into in season one was they made this, they did the paintball episode, and it was incredibly expensive to make. When you make a TV show, there's this thing called the pattern budget. And it's that, at the outset, the studio and the network agree on approximately how much money should be spent per episode. And so your line producer is always talking to you about the pattern. And it's like, well, we can do that. We can buy this piece of music, but we'll be outside of our pattern, which means we will have to make up the money on the next episode or something like that. So you have a pile of money that you use to make the whole season, and you're trying to keep it to this even chunks. And so it had the paintball episodes and the special big budget episodes are so much more expensive than the others, that Dan said, wait, this was in season 2, right? At season 2, he was, from the beginning of the year, he was saying, well, we can do another, he wanted to do this two-part paintball thing in season 2. And he was like, we will pay for it by specifically doing cheaper episodes along the way. Two of them were mine. One was, wait, was this in season 3 or season 3? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So the season 2 discussion, the cost saving thing was one of my episodes, and it was Troy's birthday, Mixolin. That was a cheap episode because it almost all took place in this one location at the bar that was already built. We didn't have to build it because the show Happy Endings had been using that bar, and and we were in the same studio, and the Russo brothers were connected to that show. So it was like, oh, we can just use Happy Innocent. I'm sure Sony paid Sony a fee for the use of Sony's property for that Sony episode.
And for tax purposes, they lost money.
I'm sure that they lost money.
Of course.
And so anyway, that episode was cheap because we shot that in 3.5 days as opposed to 5. Cut to season 3, and Dan's like, now that we know this trick, here's how we're going to save money on here's what our cheap episodes are going to be in season 3. And I don't remember what the other ones were, but this was definitely one, because he said, this is all still photographs and you can do it very, very quickly. The cost of making this is a little esoteric, but the cost of making any sort of production, a big part of it can be broken down in terms of days. So a day, there's a minimum amount of money that it costs you just to have a day, because you've got to pay the whole crew to be there. And so if you can shoot quicker, you can shoot cheaper. And so that's how the assignment happened. Was Dan said, we're going to build up to this war, and then we're going to tell the story of the war in a Ken Burns documentary style. And my initial thought was, I don't think it'll work in network television. I think the short film that I made was 12 minutes long, and it was very ponderous, and that was part of the joke, was how slowly it moved. And I said, one of the first things I said was, I'm not sure that we can do this joke, that we can do this trick on a network TV show. I think it'll just feel too slow. It'll bore people. And he said, very wisely, we'll just do it a little bit faster.
Of course.
Dan's solution was, well, then let's not bore people. Which turned out to be a wise choice.
Interesting note. Do it less boring. Interesting. Good. Yeah.
But I'll jump a little bit further to answer what was implied in your question, was how do you even write the script for this sort of thing? And I had experience doing it. It's also because I had worked in advertising for many years. And when you write a TV, a sitcom script, you're writing in a specific format where you have, scene description of the action, and then the character's name, and then the dialogue, and then more action and dialogue. And with the action, what you're not doing in a TV script is you're not marrying the action too closely. You're not talking over action, basically. How do I describe this? Basically, you say, Jeff walks into the room with Britta, and then you play out the scene, and the director and the actors will figure out what they're doing in that scene. Whereas with a documentary style, you've got a narrator who's talking over specific images. So you have to, in commercial scripts, you do that in a 2-column format. You just go, here's the picture here, and here's the audio that goes with that picture. And then I didn't do that. I didn't use 2 columns for the script, but I thought that way. I spelled out in the script, I spelled out as many of the photos as I could imagine. So I would write, picture of Shirley, a picture of Big Battle, close up still of Shirley getting into it with someone. A picture of Jeff posing in front of fighting troops, then picture of Jeff on his phone. I would sort of I really described as many images as I could, and I wrote this full narration to go with it. And then almost all of it changed. So much of it changed after we shot the pictures, that it really got rewritten in editing with mostly Dan, but he was nice enough to invite me to help him with the editing after the fact. Because when we first shot it, so basically this was not a traditional looking shoot. You can imagine there was a little bit of live action that was shot, maybe a day or a day and a half worth of actual film cameras on a set. And then while that was happening, there was a still photographer who was just staging portraits or staging photos and shooting them. And because we knew that we were going to build most of the stuff around these still photos, so it was much quicker to do.
Okay.
I perhaps I'm asking you to remember like whiteboards from 10 years ago, but like, were there other permutations that this like Troy and Abed conflict came through? Was it always pillows and blankets? Was there potentially something else that was going to be done in the documentary style? I'm just wondering if any of that still lives in that noggin of yours.
I think it was. Good question. I don't think. No, I think the documentary style sort of like that solution was the answer to how are we going to film the pillow fight episode.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think early on there was a discussion of there should be a fight between there should be some sort of I don't know. Jesus, now I'm filling in blanks from my sketchy memory. There might have been some discussion of like what could we do in Ken Burns style, but for as long as I can remember, it was Dan mentioned in the Blanket Fort episode in season 2, he always felt like that got away from him because he had described it as a pillow fort, but the set decoration people just went and built a blanket fort. And it was this thing that sort of stuck in Dan's mind. Like, it doesn't seem like a significant difference, but I asked for pillows, and that one got away from me. Like the schedule was so fast, and he didn't. Once he saw the designs for it, he was like, okay. Like it's probably not a big deal, but he couldn't let it go. And in season 3, he just turned that into a Troy and Abed discussion, because as we all know, a blanket fort is a pillow fort is a much more sophisticated thing.
Oh, of course.
There's a geodome of pillows.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, a blanket fort any nitwit could build.
You cannot simply string pillows between several chairs and a couch.
With apologies to everyone who is Team Blanketsburg, because I mean, sure, you could argue that a blanket fort is easier to build, but I mean, if Troy's my president, I might be just following Troy wherever he wants to go. I mean, I could see both sides of it.
Of course. But you personally, I mean, pillows or blanket, right? If you're a student at Greendale, which side are you choosing?
Boy, I don't know. Blanketsburg? All right.
Okay. There you go.
I'll go where Matt is. One of the things that was in the original script that got cut wisely, but I spent time making this. Like I had described a thing where the narrator would go into a tangent about why Blanketsburg was growing faster than Pillow Town.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Please forgive me for forgetting the name of that. Blanketsburg was so much. It's because it was easier to build blanket forts. Blanketsburg was taking up more, it was growing fast, and Pillowtown had to do something about it. So they started sabotaging blanket forts. And I wrote that was a chunk of dialogue, and that was a couple pages. That would have been a 4 or 5 minute discussion that was in my writer's draft that we ended up killing. But I did shoot, we did go around with the photographer, and I shot, I described it, and then I was like, this is the cool thing about doing a documentary is the writer gets to be more of a director. And I was like, we could do this cool thing where you do a series of stills of people building a blanket fort, and you show how quickly it goes. Like you just it ends up looking like animation, where it's a still of 2 people, then it's bigger and bigger and bigger. So you can show how quickly it grows, and then you show the one of Abed's henchmen tearing it down. None of it ended up in the final. Oh golly.
Do you remember how that there's a joke in there, because this is one of those things, I don't know how anybody writes it. There's a joke in the episode where Troy is telling everybody prepare for war, and then the audio starts sounding weird, like it's a World War II bit. It's like, I need Garrett to fix this on my computer, is the joke, because his audio starts having this heavy echo. Do you remember that joke at all? I don't know how anybody even thinks of writes that joke.
That's a good question. I don't remember the joke. Hold on, I'm going to look up my script. Do I have it?
Yeah. The line is, citizens of Blanketsburg, I ask you now to prepare for war, and I ask Garrett to please fix the microphone on my laptop. It's doing that thing again, and it's that
again.
It's got this old audio sound to it when it happens.
Oh, that's really funny. God, let me ask you this. Does he say it on camera? Do you see him say that line?
No.
It very well could have been added by Dan after, in editing. That's the kind of thing. Like if you don't see them saying it, then I'm less likely to have written it.
It seems like, I'm just throwing a guess out here, but maybe someone was rewatching a Ken Burns documentary or something, and it's like, they put this audio effect over, all the generals' speeches and things like that, and it's just, hey, there's a gag, there's a joke.
Yeah, it could. Yes. All right. It could have been me. I mean, I did watch. I am a real student of Ken Burns stuff because I had been obsessed with his style and his tricks forever. And I do remember having that discussion of like one thing, me bringing up that one thing we can definitely do is have sound effects to liven it up a little, because Ken Burns does that. When you show a battlefield, you build an audio bed underneath that. You Foley in the sound effects, but I don't know. I don't remember writing it. What episode number was that?
It is 314.
314.
314.
Yeah, I have a nerdy spreadsheet where I can just type in season and episode and it pulls up the entire dialogue for the whole season. It's all seasons. It's
That's a heck of a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Nerd.
That's a powerful. Yeah, you built us our ranking spreadsheet, and I was just looking it up, and I was like, where did Pillows and Blankets end up for our Community episode rankings? Number 2 out of every episode of Community ever made. So good job, Andy. Good job.
This one's number 2.
And
this ended up at number 2.
It's a 9.3 with over 5,000 votes and votes in IMDb.
Wow.
2 recent 10s I can speak to because I did
delighted.
both of them. But yeah, it's this is you already knew AV Club gave this an A.
Yes.
Yeah, that used to be the measure.
That's coveted.
But they gave an A. That's what you look for.
That's great. Wait, I'm searching for the. Oh my God. Searching for the word sound with the words. What was the line he says? Audio.
Oh, microphone.
He says. And I asked Garrett to please fix the microphone on my laptop. He's doing that thing again.
That does sound like a Dan joke, but I just stumbled across this thing that I don't think is in it with Professor Kligoris. He's not in this episode,
he's not in
is he?
No.
He was in the writer's draft, and he has because he's a war expert. He's talking like Shelby Foote,
Of course.
And he says,
"I'll take him over Shelby."
Yeah.
Good call.
The narrator says, "Pillows flew, bodies fell. It became hard to know who was on what side." And Kligoris says, "At this point, something happens that's very hard to make sense of. Some say they hear Troy Barnes yell, 'Screw this, we'll just go build it in the Roddenberry.' Others say it sounded more like, 'Holy shit, this shit is scary.' What happens next is Jeff Winger appears to turn on Troy Barnes. Some say he called out, 'You're not taking the Roddenberry.' Others say it sounded more like, 'You're damn right, it's scary.' Winger claims he was blinded by feathers and didn't know what he was swinging at. Others say it looked pretty clear." My point is, sorry, I had forgotten. We decided there's a building on campus called the Roddenberry, and that's named after a building on the Paramount lot called the Gene Roddenberry Building, and it was among us who worked at Community in a nearby building. That was the building where we would go to use the bathroom. It just had better bathrooms, and also
it is a great sight gag that you have in the Chang Dynasty episode where Troy and Abed are from the
their janitor name tags say
Rod and Barry.
It's Rod and Barry,
yeah.
And the name of their thing on the back says Rod and Barry.
Yeah,
plumbing.
That's great.
So it's a great little visual game.
Yeah, that's an Easter egg for us, basically. But in reading that, I just realized what happened was one of the plot points in the writer's draft was that someone was a shy pooper and had been using this build. Jeff was a shy pooper and had been using this building to poop. And when Troy decides he wants to take over that territory, Jeff becomes a turncoat.
Oh,
because he doesn't want everyone discovering his secret bathroom.
This is not the first time I've heard reference to the Jeff is a shy pooper plot line. I remember it also from some Harmon interview or another. It was originally going to be a Jeff and Shirley plot line of like they both discover that they've been using the same private bathroom. They're both shy poopers. Which will show up on Rick and Morty later.
Rick and Morty later. It's in the commentary for this episode on the DVDs and Blu-ray.
Oh, there you go.
The shy pooper bit comes up, and It's at the first time you hear it, it is out of the blue weird, and then after you've seen the episode of Rick and Morty, it's like, oh no, this makes total sense. It's something Dan's been dying to talk about.
Harmon gets these complexes, right? Like he has these things that he can't let go, and you will see them eventually.
Oh yeah, Shy Pooper. Yeah, secret bathroom and Shy Pooper kept coming up in the writers' room. We kept trying to find ways to use it. Secret bathroom, and it was in my writers' draft. It was a huge plot point in this. I guess because I guess because I had to, I was trying to build drama inside the story of like how the battle went and, the twists and turns inside the battle. But we ended up not needing any of that really, which is another reason why Dan made the episode much better than I could have made it. What do we got? Do you have questions? Do you have viewer questions?
Yeah. One of the questions we got was, did this episode get any pushback?
Any pushback?
Yeah, like NBC or the Sony going, hey,
that's
this
cheap.
Sounds unlikely to work out.
I don't remember any specific pushback, but you have, the general vibe between us and Sony and NBC was sort of always like that. They were always saying, on a scale from I can't picture that to don't do that. And then we were always Dan was always defiantly just doing it. And I think by the middle of season 3, it had worked out so many times that they just were reluctant. They had stopped saying, I don't believe in this. They would only sort of say like, are you sure? Like, because they knew that basically because they knew that it wouldn't matter if they said, don't do this, or if they said, we don't love this idea, that it would never matter. So there wasn't any hard pushback, I'm sure, but whatever pushback they would have had, what was certainly in the air that we all knew was that this was a sort of a big swing and that we had to make it work. And then Dan also, and that was the same kind of thing, like I probably in the same discussion where I said, I'm nervous about this feeling too slow. I remember one of the things that Dan said either that day or soon after was like, well, the good news is, these kinds of, this format comes together in editing. So if we don't like what we see, we can just fix it. He had done, at what point did he do, there was like an animated, is there an animated tag before Abed's Christmas episode?
There is for Paradigms of Human Memory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the kind of thing where like Dan enjoys, backing himself into a corner or having like 8 hours to fix an unfixable problem. It brings out the best in him and always brought out the best in us too. So I think his attitude was like, well, we're just going to spend 2.5 days and shoot a bunch of still photos and make an episode, and if it sucks, we will just quickly throw together something even quicker and hopefully better. Like
let's just wing it.
He had confidence that if we had photos of a battle, that basically we could do an all narration episode that would work. And he ended up right.
When did you find out about Keith David being in season 6? I'm sure were you around when he did the narration for the episode?
Yeah. So I went. We had wrapped. It's funny. There was a text chain between me and Dan and Chris McKenna, where Dan was in editing and we had wrapped. So the writers weren't coming to work anymore. It was our hiatus. But Dan had texted me asking, didn't you get any better shots of the pillow monster? Like he was sort of expressing like you fucked up. Not in so many words, but he was hoping against hope that that we had gotten better coverage of that pillow monster. And I got defensive in my answer because I felt like, oh shit, he's unhappy, and you never want to disappoint him. And also I got defensive and I said, well, no, I mean, we never did get a clean shots of him because you never would in the moment. Like, this is the equivalent of someone spotting Loch Ness or Sasquatch. I mean, you just, I never had it in mind that you would want a clean photograph of that. I mean, what you want is a messy photo of it, and I'm like typing this out, like trying to explain to him why he doesn't have the piece of footage that he wants. And then Chris wisely stepped in and said, Andy, do you want to help Dan edit? And I was like, oh my God, I would love to. So
I just sent this 4-part text message. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it was then that I spent like 4 or 5 days editing it with him, and or maybe not even that much, but rewriting the script based on what he thought was working and the pictures that we had. And I don't remember the decision to bring in Keith David, but he might have already made that decision before. But it was an obvious choice because Keith narrates a documentary. His voice works. He does voice work.
Yeah.
And but I do remember I do remember when Dan went to that recording session, and I was sitting there with the editor working on stuff while Dan was in a different room recording Keith David, and he came back just thoroughly in love with Keith David and just like really impressed, and just like, that guy is like, he doesn't miss. He knows exactly where the jokes are. He writes out. Dan was really impressed because Keith does this thing with the script, I guess when he's doing a voice job, or maybe all the time, where he writes it out phonetically. That like phonetic alphabet, or that phonetic system of describing words. I can't remember. Like there's a bunch of different symbols for different sounds. Can't remember what it's called. Anyway, there's like a universal phonetic alphabet, and Keith translates all of his voiceover scripts into that first.
Wow.
Okay.
What a pro. What a
Absolute
pro.
And yeah, so what I witnessed was the day Dan fell in love with Keith David, and so when I heard later, because I was gone then for season 6, I wasn't involved. But when I heard that he was going to be a regular, I was like, well, I know why that happened, and I was there.
Absolutely. And then he's a Rick and Morty regular as well. Dan's in love. Keith
David is a national treasure, and
absolutely.
Yeah,
it's an appropriate response. Did you have any favorite bits from the episode?
I mean, the thing that the joke that I'm most jealous of, like I'd have to go through my script and figure out how much of my original draft stayed in, or how much of, like, because I used to be really good at keeping track of what I wrote, what was mine and what was someone else's. I've sort of lost that ability as I've gotten older, but I do remember one thing that was not mine that I wish was mine, that I wish I could take credit for, was Leonard likes this post. I just, like, when Dan spit that out, it's just, I was just like, oh man, I would pay money to have said that. Leonard likes this post. God, other, I don't, yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know whether any, and I haven't watched it in a long time. When I was looking through the photos just now, I saw a bunch of stuff. Did we do a bit where it looks like we spent a lot of energy taking pictures of Jeff on his phone?
There's more than a few. Yeah,
there's quite a few.
And so that was a plot point, or that was not a plot point, but that was what we did. I remember that shoot week, or for those 2.5 days we were there, everything we shot, we made sure to put Joel in the background on his phone. So almost every still photo we did, where Jeff could plausibly be in it, he was in it, as an Easter egg on his phone somewhere. I don't know how many of those made it in, but yeah.
There's a number, various different situations and poses of him looking at his phone, right? Because most of what he does in the episode is like text, and like we're reading off texts from Jeff.
Right. Oh, text from Jeff was a good device. The other thing that I can tell looking back at the photos, that like one thing that I was very, very focused on, because I was proud of it and wanted it to work, and was that just the joke that Britta's a bad photographer. That Britta had appointed herself to be the war photographer, and that all her pictures were bad. And I remember having so much fun. It's very fun and a little bit frustrating to go with a trained professional still photographer and tell them how to ruin pictures the way Britta would. Like I kept saying, put a finger or something in front of that lens. Like put like, and don't frame it good. Like miss the.
Just fighting every instinct that they've built over a career.
You know the thing that got you in the door? Don't do any of that.
Don't do any of that. Yeah.
Nothing.
And I remember the other thing that also I think was hopefully I'm trying to salvage my reputation by saying there was a reason that I needed to be there. But one thing that I do think I brought to it was to remind the photographer, since I had gone through this exercise before on using Final Cut, trying to do pushes and zooms on photos, you realize that what Ken Burns does is he finds a framing within a photo. He'll find a cropping way deep inside a photo that he wants to end on or that he wants to start on, and then he's got to give himself a lot of headroom to pull out or to push in. And so I remember having to, like, one thing that the photographer wasn't inclined to do that I had to remind him to do was like, don't frame these in a way that you would thinking normally. Like frame them way wider than you think. Like just stand way far back. Give us like a whole bunch of useless material in the photo that you think is useless, so that we can push in slowly on it. I did that. I took care of that at least. I knew a technical thing.
Something you don't think about until you're in the thick of it, and you're like, wow, okay. And you'd obviously been around it before. So this episode is actually, it's a centerpiece of a little bit of a community trivia. So there are two characters that speak and appear in every single episode. There is one character who speaks in every episode but does not appear in every episode, and there is one character who appears in every episode but does not speak in every episode.
Wow.
And it's come up recently in this conversation who it might be. Do you know what change this episode lays down into that Venn diagram?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I'm going to assume that Jeff Winger appears and speaks in every episode.
Correct.
But does he speak in this one? Does he have a?
It's not on camera, but he has lots. He has dialogue.
He does have on camera bits where he says, "If I write a Hello Kitty thing."
The old tomato. Yeah, you're right. He does have scenes. He does have scenes.
So, and then who speaks in every episode but doesn't appear?
Mm-hmm. There's one character who speaks in every episode but does not appear on camera.
And you were not a part of the show when this happened, so we probably should spot him this one.
Well, sure. I mean, I'm guessing Dean Pelton.
No.
It's a good guess.
It's Abed. He doesn't appear in the next to last episode because he is filming the pilot for Powerless. So they use his voice because he's behind the camera for the wedding, but he's never actually seen.
Oh, that's great. That's good trivia.
Yeah, and then
so there's someone in Pillows and Blankets who breaks a pattern,
who appears but does not speak. It is the only episode in which this character does not utter a line of dialogue. On camera or not, has no voiceover, has no nothing.
Okay. Is it one of our core 7?
Yes.
Okay.
We're only talking about the top 9.
Okay.
Of all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appears but doesn't speak in this one.
Oh,
Pierce?
No. He yells at those bastard children.
He yells at those little kids, and then he dies later on.
Yeah,
it takes him out of play a little bit.
God,
and stuff.
Is it? Well, I know Annie is in this texting with Jeff.
So
that
counts.
We hear her.
She is the other one who appears and speaks in every single episode of Community.
Wow.
So it is Jeff and Annie, which I hear people are interested in that as a ship. I don't know.
That seems weird.
First I'm hearing of it.
Are there people who ship that relationship? This is the first I'm hearing of it.
It's great.
God, I know I wrote in the first draft. I wrote a lot of dialogue for Shirley. I wrote her talking on camera, but maybe she's
there.
She's
literally says, "You weren't there." Right off the bat,
okay.
She's there right after the narrator.
Exactly.
Got it. All right, so they did use that. Well, then we're left with. Could it be Britta?
It is Britta.
So she's just the photographer, and we didn't get any lines from her.
She does not utter a line, but there are pictures of her.
Yes.
but she does not speak.
And we see her handiwork.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Literally her hand, and she's in the background of pictures and stuff, and there's action with her. But she doesn't actually say anything. It's the only time it happens in the whole.
But it's a testament to, it's like you still accomplish a great Britta joke, but she's a silent clown. This is her Buster Keaton moment.
She made a character so strong that she didn't even have to talk to entertain people.
That's right.
Now you're going back to work with Dan on the series
Crapopolis.
I know
it's called.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh wait,
Kratopolis.
Crapopolis.
Hold on. Now I have to check if I'm spoiling it.
If we can say it. Oh, okay.
No, it is public name. I've heard it. It's just been a couple months.
It's public, right? It's called Crapopolis.
Crapopolis. Yeah, the Olympian gods with Dan Harmon Flair, I guess, something like that.
Yes. Oh, thank God! It's on it's all over the web. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they keeping it a secret?
I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Is there stuff you look
perjured
forward...
yourself?
Yeah. oh no! Congratulations on the job you just lost. No. Are there parts of working with Dan you look forward to doing since you haven't worked with him several years now? Is there something about him?
I have so much affection for him, and I think he has some for me. I don't know. Yes. How it came about was I got an email from Steve Levy, who has been working. You might be familiar with that name from Harmontown. He's like sort of Dan's producing partner now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Steve said, "Are you available and interested at all in coming to work on the show?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Unfortunately, yes." The fact that I'm available means that I'm not working. Anyway, and I instantly got excited. And then I have Dan's phone number. Wasn't sure if it was still his number because we hadn't talked in a while. But I texted him and I said, "Are you getting the band back together?" And then he said, "Yeah, possibly," because there are some other people. Hillary Winston is helping out a little bit in the room now, and another guy, Alex Rubens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a deliberate effort on Dan's part to work with some familiar faces, and another woman, Sarah Carbiner, who was from Rick and Morty. So, Jesus, I hope I'm not outing anyone's. Whatever. It's all. This is anyway. So it was not only exciting to work with Dan again, but to reconnect with Hillary and Alex and to sort of have that feeling again. And as I started texting Hillary and I said, "Are you going to do it? I think I'm going to do it." And so what I was looking for, he's just an incredibly funny person. And so he's awfully entertaining to be around. You laugh a lot when you're working with him. He just the way, if you've listened to his podcast, working with him is not that much different. I mean, he just he talks a lot and makes you laugh. So yes, I was looking forward to it. And also we're not working the kind of hours that we did at Community. We're a lot things are a little bit different in terms of the work style.
You think it's the animation, or is it just
partly because it's animation, and partly because Dan has so much going on that he really can't do that on any one particular project. He sort of put himself in a position, I think, where he's got to focus. And I don't know, for many reasons, it's just the workload is more efficient and lighter. Animation does give you a lot more opportunities. Animation is more forgiving in so many ways because you can change, in live action, reshooting something is a huge ordeal and it's very expensive. In animation, it's not that hard to rewrite dialogue, especially if you're keeping the same characters in the scene. You're just changing the lip flap and the gestures maybe and the facial expressions, but that's not a hard thing to adjust way late in the process. And you have several chances, you're sort of pre-visualizing it with an animatic, so you can tell if the thing is working, and if you throw it out at that stage, you haven't lost the kind of money that you would have lost if you were reshooting an episode. You've just lost a week of it's maybe a week of everyone's time. But yeah, it's easier to. So and what that means when you're breaking stories and when you're in the process is that you go, well, I don't know if this is quite right, but hey, we'll take a look at it. So you don't have to like sweat bullets, all night to make sure that the table read is going to be perfect or that the shoot week is going to be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask this. I'm going to describe something that you've been a part of that sounds scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be afraid if I had to be funny in a room that had Emily Spivey, Jim Rash, Melissa McCarthy, Will Forte, Maya Rudolph, Jordan Black, and Cheryl Hines at the Groundlings. That sounds... I can't imagine the clench of sphincters that would create.
Well, that's really great. Yeah. I was in the Groundlings Sunday show with all those people. Melissa McCarthy only very briefly, I think maybe 2 weeks. I don't even think we talked to each other. But yes, all those people. And so the first thing you have to remember is that none of them were household names. None of them were famous for anything. They were just really good, really funny people. really funny people in the improv community who were like the stars of the, who were like, everyone was sort of looking at them going like, oh, it seems like they're going places. But we didn't know. I mean, there are also very talented people who I worked with who haven't become famous. And you're like, oh, I wonder, well, life is unfair. But I did not think, no, that environment was sort of like, there's a certain kind of stress that you feel when you're doing comedy or in an improv cast. It's an odd kind of thing where you, like, if you ever go watch an improv show, you can bet that the people on stage next to each other have at some point hated each other.
Can confirm.
Yeah. Or at some point have felt intense resentment or envy for one another. So that's something that we all have to deal with. That happens. Actually, that happens in many workplaces, right? I mean, someone gets a promotion that you didn't get, and you're like, why them? And but for the most part, Jim, especially like Jim Rash, being so funny and so reliable week after week, and every Wednesday we would come in and present, have sort of like a table read where we would present sketches to the director of the show, but really try to make each other laugh. And so there was intense pressure leading up to those Wednesdays because you just didn't want to show up empty-handed. But the fact that those people were so good, I'm sure made me better, made me try harder, because I just didn't want to.
Yeah, I would have stopped showing up, but I am like all the theater kids that are part of the community group of people I get to talk to on a regular basis. I have an accounting degree, so I'm really uncomfortable with all these options.
Something to fall back. Yeah, if you can do anything else, you should do that.
I like steady income.
Yeah.
Did you find any photos that you thought that stood out that didn't make it to the air?
Yeah, I'll take you on a little tour here. Wait, can I share? You have to give me screen sharing.
I thought I did.
Oh, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Make a host.
Oh,
hang on. I told this thing before this started. That's just the easiest thing. And I'm just gonna make you the host. No, we're not waiting on me.
There you
go.
Theoretically kick you guys out?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to go. I don't know. Here's some good. You can see this, right?
Yeah.
These are just some. There's Jeff. There's Jeff in the background of the battle.
Hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out. Let's see. This is Pillow Man.
Yeah.
And this is me specifically telling the director, take a picture of him like you're getting Sasquatch. And then, you cut to Dan in an edit suite looking at this going like, Andy, did you get any clear photos of the Pillow Man?
We tried. I don't know. The camera, it wouldn't get him.
That drunk bastard.
Let's see what else we have. That looks like it made it into the cut. Actually.
Yeah.
That's
that
looks familiar.
Not at that angle, but
not that angle.
Yeah, there's several pictures of her. Speaking of, I have commissioned. There's a guy who does watercolor. I have commissioned Yvette with those 2 colored pillows, which are the colors of her sorority. I have commissioned that and give it away not too long from now.
That's fantastic. Great. Wow.
I was hoping it'd be ready soon.
I'm showing you guys. Is there anything on my desktop that's weird? No, I don't think so. There's Dino getting hit. He kept saying, Dino kept saying harder. Dino was enjoying this, us trying to get this shot.
It's great.
That was Jeff. Let's see. Oh, is this in there? I don't know.
Yes.
Or something
looks
like
familiar. It. Yeah. Or something like it.
God, when we were shooting
the whole time, so it feels a little different.
Yeah. When we started shooting, Chris McKenna texted me this sort of famous photo of John F. Kennedy in the Oval Office, leaning against his desk, and he's silhouetted against the window behind the desk. And he said, "Can you get something like this of Abed?" And I was like, "Oh fuck." We don't have anything that could silhouette him. And so but that's us trying to do presidential of Abed. Here's Britta, the proud photographer. I don't know if that made it in. Did that go in? That's just, there are like 50 photos of a Coke can that are just us.
There's a picture of it after she crushes it.
Oh,
yes.
The fingers over the thing.
Yeah. Okay, so we did get it. Yeah, that was me going like, oh, she would have really, really focused on this. And then here's an example of like, this is the wide shot. I don't know if we use this. Is like, I kept saying, how far back can we go? Mm-hmm. Because we want to zoom in and we want to end up on that little animal. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And this was an alt. Did we have her in this? I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
I think it might be like a closer shot, but she's in there.
Oh, okay. I can't remember any of it. Yeah, there's another bad Britta photo. But it maybe is too good. Like that kind of works as a war.
It's really nice, actually.
Yeah. This is the kids. Did we do this? They're wearing tags.
There was a line about the tags that was used. It was
they're wearing tags of all the pillows that they destroyed.
Yeah, it was a line by Annie.
That's funny.
Yeah. We had and this is just them having fun in there. I'm sure this didn't make it in. Wait, where is? Yeah, that's about it. But if you want to see, I have like the whole series of raw photos.
Wow.
I might just like I've wanted to sort of distribute them. But I think it's, they're probably property of Sony, and I would get in trouble. But this is kind of fun and nice. There's like Annie attending to this wounded student on the side here.
This is like a Where's Waldo sort of tableau.
Right.
It's like there's all these different little scenes.
All these wide shots. Yes. Let's see. But yeah, it's funny to look at the names of these photos. Starburns pelted, Jeff posing with fight. Surely annihilating somebody.
Raw.
I
know it's a file name thing, but I still like it.
But it's very descriptive as well. Well, if these were to sort of fall off the truck, these were to.
Here's Britta's bad photos. Oh, Britta's bad battle photos. I love these.
They're good.
Yeah.
Just turn that barrel about a half inch.
Yeah, just a lot.
Wow.
Anyway, what else do I have? Hold on. There was something in here. Bad photos of magnitude. Oh, this is the series of people building a blanket fort. quickly. Anyway, it would have been a cute animation had I done it. That's about it. But yeah, I'll go through these and try to find. I think if I just leak them out one at a time, we can get away with that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
If they end up in somebody else's hands, who
Right,
just
right. Who
happens
would know?
to
Who
put
would
them on
know?
Instagram and Pinterest, and because
Right,
we have
right,
accounts
right,
for all
right.
that for people to see stuff. That sounds great.
Oh, golly.
All right, now thank you first, Andy.
Thank you,
you
guys.
for all of this, Kevin. Thank you for putting up with me. That's my favorite.
Oh, stop.
But Andy, how's the Tumblr's Willie going? I know you've got a new episode drop today. I'm listening later tonight.
Thank you for bringing it up, Matt. I want to plug it. I have to plug it everywhere I go. Tumblr's Willie is a podcast that I'm making. It is the long history of a TV show that you've never heard of, because it's quite possible that we made it up. Tumblr's Willie is the longest running TV show in the UK. It's been on since 1902, some 20 years before the invention of radio. And it's still going strong. And I and my British friend, Andy Stanton, who writes children's books, really hilarious children's books, named Mr. Gum. Look those up. We talk in great detail about our fawning love for this British institution called Tumblr's Willie. And the more you hear about Tumblr's Willie, the more you will start to understand that it's probably the stupidest TV show you've ever heard. And so it's going well. We release a new episode every Tuesday. They're a half hour long. That we don't demand a lot of your time, but we hopefully deliver a lot of laughs.
It's very funny.
And they're going. It's going well. We're growing. It's what's very interesting as you know, because you're a podcaster. Wait, are you a podcaster?
I'm,
sorry,
I'm
Kevin.
no longer a podcaster.
I am.
He is.
Yeah.
I'm done.
So you get dropped into this world of charts and graphs, and you're like, we can see who's listening, or we don't know who's listening, but we know what platform they're on and we know where they are in the world. And so we're growing. We're growing slowly. What we need really is to aggregate that sort of. We need to hit that. We're still waiting for that moment where enough people are talking about it that it becomes a bigger deal. But we're very happy with the. First of all, I'm really proud of this podcast. Go to tumblerswilly.com or Google it or look it up in your favorite podcast app, and let me know. I'm on Twitter. Yeah. Tell me you love it. Tell me if you hate it. But don't be
Give
that.
Don't be rate it. And Kevin has the Advanced Media Studies. What's your next episode? I keep pointing.
Advanced Media Studies. Now that we're done with Community, we cannot be Advanced Community Studies anymore. We're about to talk about John Carpenter's The Thing. Wow. We're recording that tomorrow. Then we're going to finish out Mythic Quest, and we're going to spend most of the rest of the year reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books.
Oh my God!
So that's going to be fun. What a year for me.
Yes. So the Tumblr's Willie podcast is you. If you had the balls to cover Tumblr's Willie, but I guess you don't. So
I wouldn't dare. The Tumblr's Willie fan base is toxic. I can't go near it.
Yes, they are toxic. Yeah.
I can't go near it.
Oh yeah.
But I will download episodes of your podcast because I'm going to the office tomorrow, and I need something to keep my wits about me.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, thank you both. Thank you everybody who watched along with us.
Thanks everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you guys see my artwork I have in the back there? That's fan art.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
The 8-bit.
That's the 8-bit fan art, and then next to that is Bless the Hearts
nice.
Background.
Nice. I have a little community fan art right there because I haven't bought a frame for it yet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Annie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this is my 6th season thing.
Oh,
They sent out a bunch to the fandom there.
That's great.
Nice.
I'm going to show you my favorite thing on the planet. Since we're here,
Planet.
Andy's here. This is my second favorite thing. This is my
that's great.
Britabot, who works with me every day.
Oh, that's a great.
But this is the lunch.
Lunchbox.
Yes.
Amazing.
Jim Rash gave those to the cast and crew as a gift.
So good.
1 year, season 3, season
Into season
5?
3, I think, after he became a regular.
Yeah,
when he starts getting those regular paychecks, and the Oscar paycheck, he was rolling in.
Once you do that stance like Angelina,
once you flip what's in the Oscars gift bag for tens of thousands of dollars, you can afford to buy some people some lunch boxes, right?
This is treasured in the house and has a place, and it's really nearby. All right, thank you. Thank you
guys. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Great to meet you.
And
of
everybody
course.
watching, thank you. I'm about to hit the end.
Alrighty.
All right, the live stream is over.
Oh boy.
Okay, now we can talk unfiltered. No.